2024, motherfuckers!
That's right.
Woo!
Yeah. If you're watching this, this is the 8th. This is the 9th if you're watching this today.
For those of you who aren't watching, I just threw up my hands in absolutely no idea how many. So, Bart Pietrzak, Jackman, extraordinary producer, Project Power Gym. We don't know the name of this fucking thing. Who cares? You can look us up, Project Power Gym. It's currently at Not a Podcast.
Yep.
Click subscribe, comment some stuff. You want to be on the show? Fucking tell me. I'll talk to you. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Let's go. Next show, I'm going to try to get Jeff Lavicchio on the show, ex-NHL star, member of Project Power Gym, overall amazing human being. But for today, it's Jackman and I talking about the first shit of 2024.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's new, man? How's good? How's your New Year's Eve? All that jazz?
You know what? New Year's Eve, I just worked, and I just worked.
It
felt good. It felt cool.
It did?
Yeah, I'm like, fuck yeah.
Because?
This shit feels good. I'm like, no one else is doing this.
Isn't it? Okay, right there, dude. That anybody who's building shit or anybody that's like really pushing themselves, they can relate to that feeling right there.
Yeah.
Knowing for a fact that I'm doing something right now that a lot of people wouldn't do or would decide to maybe take it easy or give themselves some grace or you're like, no, not me.
Yeah, a lot of like even you're working on New Year's, give yourself a break or like that's what I mean. Those are verbatim almost words that I've heard. Like,
yeah, well, dude, it was a slippery slope for me because like that feeling I love so much is like I continuously put myself into positions just so I can say that shit to myself, and it puts you sometimes in some really weird ass positions, man, where you don't necessarily have to be doing whatever the fuck it is that you're doing, but for the sheer mental strength that it builds and the sheer ability to, I don't know, man, just set yourself apart from the norm. It's a phenomenal feeling. And if you were to break it down and analyze and put numerics next to how much progress did you make and how important was it to do, I don't know if it makes a fucking physical difference, but the mental difference it makes when you walk up to a challenge knowing that you're able to do a New Year's Eve work session and you pull it through, or you're doing 75 hard and it's fucking hailing outside and you still do it. There's a fucking feeling there where you go, nobody else is doing this shit. And when you look at someone like David Goggins and go, that guy's fucking crazy. All that dude is in love with that feeling.
Yeah.
That's his love language to himself, is I will put myself into positions where I know nobody. I'm one of one, motherfucker. And that's a phenomenal feeling, period. And if you don't have that in your life, find it.
Yeah.
Make that shit, because that will fucking change it overnight. Put yourself into positions where you just go, dude, no one else is doing this shit. You know? Mm-hmm. So with that being said, like, what's 2024?
2024 is a whole lot more of that.
Oh yeah.
2024 is I'll say this real quick. I went to the gym on New Year's Day, the first. I'm like, oh man, this thing's gonna be fucking packed.
Nobody.
No, there's nobody there.
Nobody.
What the
there.
fuck?
Yeah, nobody there, and it was a Monday.
It was a Monday, and it was the first day of and there's no one there. I'm like, this thing's gonna be full. I was like, what the fuck's going on here?
The people who say the first I'll do it are the people who don't do it. That's why they have to say I'll do it on the first.
Yeah.
So all that you'll see there are the regulars, the ones who have been doing it on the 31st, the 30th, the 29th, the 28th, the 27th.
Yeah.
Those that say I will start Monday are those that find a reason not to start Monday, which is why they have to keep giving themselves a fucking metric to do. Which is why you stop, if you start doing stuff for yourself, you start accomplishing things, you start, pushing yourself, you stop listening to the people who tell you what they're going to do. Mm-hmm. Because the people that do shit tell you what they've done, not what they're going to do. They don't waste time talking about what they're going to do, because that's not the exciting part. If you're a doer, the exciting part is the doing and then the showing of what you've done, not the I have an idea. The idea is it's exciting because you have a new direction. But if you're a doer, you don't fucking show off your thoughts. You show off what you've done, because that separates you from the one who doesn't. Mm-hmm. Anyone can talk. Everyone has ideas. Oh, who's that guy? Les Brown? Les Brown talks about the best ideas that have ever been thought have died with people.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So from the fitness industry, which I've been in a long time, I know the beginning of January isn't going to, like, everyone assumes, like, oh, I saw a funny fucking little meme. Have you seen Wolf of Wall Street?
Mm-hmm.
That scene where they take Steve Madden public and he's like, $22 million in 3 fucking hours. I saw a meme that was like, all gym owners January 1st. That's not how it is. That's not how it is, because those that are looking to start on the brand new year don't start until, if they start in January, it might be the second week of January. But truly, between you, I, and I guess the entire public, the fitness industry really doesn't pop off until March.
Interesting.
Can you guess why?
No.
Any ideas? Throw it out. I won't be, mean.
And they go from first of the year to Q1 or now that's Q2 and now we can start or something. I don't know. That's the first thing that comes to mind.
The biggest thing that people will gravitate to when they can't do something or they don't want to do something is they'll say they can't afford it. I want to join a gym so bad, but I can't afford it. I really want to do this, but I just spent so much money on Christmas. Did you know that 87% of the U.S. population's debt occurs in December?
Ah, jeez.
People put themselves into year-long debt for Christmas. Okay, anyway. What happens in March? Tax returns. So disposable income enters someone's bank account. They have the last excuse gone. And then they'll decide to finally pull the trigger. Not to mention you're starting to get 60-degree days, 70-degree days here and there. And your pants don't fucking fit. Your shorts don't fit. You don't look good with a shirt off. So come March, end of February, March, April, that's when the gyms start getting really busy. Before summer, after the winter, once money has hit their account.
And then the upcoming season where they'll be having their shirts off. Yeah, makes a ton of sense.
So, knowing that psychology, though, like, why do we keep getting into this routine of, like, January 1st or Monday or, Like, we had no excuses, like you said, dude. January 1st was a Monday.
Right.
In years prior, January 1st is like a Wednesday. So people are like, oh, I'll start Monday.
Yeah.
Bro, like, you couldn't, the brand new year wasn't enough for you to fucking motivate to go. It's funny. It's funny, but I think it's something we all go through. I think it's a maturing.
Mm-hmm.
Until you have to, people don't. And the word have to really changes person to person. The priorities you have in your life are your have tos. So if you have a focus on your priority that's ambivalent to how you physically look, feel, how healthy you are, it's just not, you're going to choose a whole bunch of other shit on top of it. So I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised the gym was empty January 1st. But it is what it is. I strongly urge anybody that is thinking about changing their fitness level and is one of those that have made excuses, because that's another thing that I think is kind of bullshit is, people in the fitness industry talking shit on New Year's resolutioners or people who, I don't give a fuck what you have to do or what convincing game you have to play of yourself. Just fucking start. Whatever gets you to start, right? This is a dramatic example, but like for a drug addict, whatever gets them to stop, I don't care. Just stop doing drugs, right? Stop harming your life. I don't give a fuck how it happens. 12-step program, cold turkey, weaning yourself off. Mm-hmm. I don't care. As long as you end at, I don't do drugs anymore, I'm patting you on the back and saying, great fucking job. Same thing goes with getting yourself into shape. If that means I literally now will take the stairs instead of the elevator, if that means I will park on the furthest spot in wherever I'm going, I don't care. Like, I'm fucking 100% behind you, dude. I don't give a shit as long as you do it. I will never talk shit on doers, ever. I don't give a fuck if you're failing, if you're doing it miserably wrong. But if you keep showing up and you keep fucking trying and you keep going and doing something, like you're going to figure it out and you're going to get what you're wanting to get. It is impossible for that equation not to compute if you just don't ever stop. But those that tell me why they can't, like I don't want to listen to why you can't. I'm so tired of listening to why people can't. You know what I mean? Because of course you can't. Nobody can until they can. No one is gifted the fucking ability until they fucking try. Nobody, dude. I get it. You're right. You're right. You can't. Now what? You're just going to live your life not being able to for the rest of your life? Like that's what you're choosing? You're going to say that's it for me?
What's the alternative?
Right?
What's the alternative?
I would rather die trying, legitimately, never accomplishing what I'm trying to accomplish, but every day having that glimmer of hope and potential effort, because that gives me purpose. I'm giving myself a goal and I'm working towards a purpose. That alone is life. At what point do you say, nah, I'm done. No more for me. Thank you. Why would you do that on anything that you kind of want? You know what I mean? Find out. Find the fuck out. It's awesome. Even if the answer is no, knowing is awesome. You recently asked somebody out, right? Not going to say anything about anything, but you did. Primo. Okay.
Primo.
There was a potential for her to say no. Wouldn't you have much rather her say no and tried than to have driven home saying, what if?
Oh, for sure.
Had I?
Yeah.
No, she probably wouldn't, but what if she did? You know what I'm saying? We do that with fucking everything. Everything. I had an employee once at Supplement Superstores, and I hired him. My choice. I found him out. Like, he was awesome. No. Opposite. I liked him, but I didn't think he was a good fit. He followed me to the gym like twice and like cornered me. And he's like, hey, man, I really... So I'm like, fuck. The tenacity, I can't say no. Like, okay.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then within a week, I fucking fell in love with the guy. Excuse me. one of my best dudes of all time. Within like 2 weeks, I started doing goal setting with him. I'm like, okay, what are we trying to work for? And he goes, my dream car is a Ford Mustang. Like this is like I really want a Ford. I'm like, have you ever tried to buy a Ford Mustang? He goes, no, it's like my dream car, dude. Like I can't afford it. I'm like, have you ever seen if you can afford it? Because I'm like, Ford Mustangs aren't that expensive, bro. Like you can get a good Ford Mustang for like $300 a month. And he's like, no way. So I pull out my phone, go on Car Gurus, and show him like 16 options for something he can afford. And he goes, oh my God. And then within 2 weeks of getting the job, we also went and got him his fucking dream car. Right? He didn't know. He put such a thing on such a pedestal that he had to wait for his dream car. He had to like, have you fucking seen if it's possible? I'm like, right now? Have you tried? One day I'll have the dream girl. Like, why not now? My car. Go see how much it costs. Like, dude, I sit on Zillow every day just looking at the properties that I would fucking... I'm like, this is what I want. Like, if I were to paint a picture on a blank piece of paper, this is what I want. This much land, this kind of house. And I do vision board, but I don't make it like that's some out of reach by the time I reach this age thing. I just go, I look every day. I see the payments. I see the mortgage. I see the utilities. I see it every day. And that is compared to what I'm doing now. No, not yet. No, not yet. Not yet. But I look every day. I do that for my cars. I do that for the houses. I do that for literally everything. And every day when those two things meet, I pull the trigger. Like, oh, I would like to do, my joints kind of hurt. Like, what do I have to do to get my joints better? Well, hydrogenated water and reverse osmosis water will help with inflammation. And this, I'm like, okay, so, man, that'd be cool if I could afford that. Well, can I? Look it up. How much is it? Oh, shit, it's not that bad. Oh, fuck, okay, I can do that now. Done. This whole concept of fantasies is like holding so many people back, I think. Just like you. You tell me your experience. Wasn't it a fantasy to not have to go to fucking work?
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
How long did that fantasy live on for?
It lived up until I quit.
Right? And how long did between the time you started thinking about it and the time you quit?
Fucking forever. Like
long ass time.
Yeah, forever.
And during that long ass time, when did you actually start seeing if it's possible?
Once I started putting in the actual work.
Give me a rough estimate on time.
Time-wise, 2 months.
Okay, so from the time you started thinking about opening up your own business and quitting your job, it took you 2 months of just daydreaming about it until you actually started looking at like what your bills and see like what you had to afford and how much money you had to make.
Yep.
Okay. And then from that time where you got those answers to the time you actually quit, how much time passed?
A day.
Okay. Not the answers I was looking for. You're also a motivated individual, and this is probably why we hit it off so well. But
I had planned out. I'm like, okay, in 3 months I'll quit
because of the numbers that you came across. And
and then I was thinking that, and I'm like, fuck that. Let's just put in my 2 weeks now.
Yeah. And why? Why did you?
Unexplainable. You
just felt you could.
Felt like
you felt like you could pull it off.
Yeah. Even if I didn't have the funds, I'm like, you know what?
Even if you didn't have the funds.
Yeah.
So what the fuck were you gonna do?
Well, I think we talked about this a little bit before. I've like gone to Smoothie King, and they're like, hey, here you go. Here's just. I'm like, oh man, if I can't get clients, I'll just go fucking destroy it, Smoothie King.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the point. The point of what we're trying to get at right now is, 2024 is the fantasy land of yesterday.
Yes.
Right? Halfway through 2023, 2024 is going to be your year.
Mm-hmm.
And, and you've heard it now to nauseum. It's not there's nothing different in 2024. There's like nothing changes. Like literally nothing changes. We made up time in terms of a calendar and years, numbers. Yesterday to today, the tree has no fucking idea what year it is. It doesn't, or nature doesn't fucking care. So it's just your own stipulations on what today means versus what yesterday meant. So the point with that is whatever you're fucking thinking about doing, do it. Do it now. And find out. You can't pull the trigger today? Cool, but at least you know what the trigger is. Mm. And it wasn't that a very, I don't know how to describe it, but maybe calming sensation when you put a numerical value on your freedom or your decision. Like, all I have to do is be able to do this.
Yeah.
And then this fantasy of mine can happen.
Yep.
That's why goal setting happens. I think that's why we put such an emphasis on being able to reverse engineer a goal, is you have these little benchmarks of like, if you can do this, then you can do this. That's something I've struggled with most of my life, because everything I think is so conceptual that I don't even know how to reverse engineer, because it's not a fucking product yet. When it comes to a car or when it comes to a house, much easier for me, right? Because there's a number associated with that car and there's a number associated with that house.
Right.
Or there's
quantifiable.
Quantifiable, right. Yep. Everything you can do that with, do it. Everything that you can mathematically equate to possible or not possible and what you have to do to accomplish it, do it. I strongly urge you to set goals on benchmarks that will help you to quantify something that you're trying to accomplish. A vacation, a house payment, a car payment, whatever. College, which is bullshit. But don't limit yourself with what you're able to accomplish if you can't quantify it. That's the other side of this coin. That's the yin to this yang. If you get so good, and I have plenty of friends that are savants when it comes to goal setting and reverse engineering goals and creating benchmarks. My best friend is the exact opposite of me. This motherfucker can tell you hour by hour what he owns a logistics company. Hour by hour what he's going to be making, how he's going to be making it, where it's going to go, to a fucking T. Mm-hmm. But that limits the creativity to expand outside of the quantifiable. Because then if you can't quantify it, it doesn't technically exist for you. So you marry the two, and now all of a sudden you're able to create really grandiose concepts for yourself that you may think are so outside your wheelhouse that you, at least you get yourself to think. Yeah, go ahead.
What are the steps? Okay, what are the steps to marrying those two?
I don't know. So, like I said, you differentiate the two. Don't lump them into one thing. So think of yourself as an adventurer, Okay, let's say you're going into the wilderness. You're Lewis and fucking Clark going out, and you're obviously knowledgeable on trees and nature and animals and hunting and building a shelter and how to navigate on rivers. Like you got those skills, right? Mm-hmm. But you're going into a wilderness that you've never been before, and you're hoping that the things that are in this wilderness need your skills so that you can navigate it. But you will undoubtedly come across shit that you've never experienced before.
Right.
And you have to be open-minded enough to look at it and go, this is different than what I know, but that's okay. Not, I shouldn't go down this path because it has a whole bunch of shit I've never seen before. Does that make sense?
Yep, makes total sense.
Because otherwise, you're just adventuring the same shit you already know.
Right. Then it's not an adventure.
Yeah, it's not an adventure.
Yep.
So that's that. We've talked about this a couple different times about like when you feel at peace is not because you're peaceful or like not because you have no fear, not because you have no misunderstandings, not because it's because you are okay with not knowing. You are okay with ambiguity. Mm-hmm. You are okay with a bad result. You are okay with having things blow up in your face. Like that's being at peace, is acknowledging the potential for very bad things to happen and being okay with it. Mm. And that's how you can marry the two. Because the parts that are ambiguous or conceptual are the parts that you have to be okay with things falling apart and changing and being different than what you thought they would look like. But the parts that you can control or the things that you have in your tool belt, your ammunition, use it to its fullest degree, right? So let's say I didn't know how Project Power was going to necessarily look. I didn't draw it out. I just I knew the feeling I wanted when I built the gym. I knew what kind of sensation I wanted, right? So I looked and I scoured and I adventured all the potentials, the lighting, the flooring, the equipment. Like I navigated uncharted territory for me, right? But then it hit me like, oh, this lighting is the shit. Okay, cool. This lighting is the shit. It's this much money. Okay, now I'm going to use my tool belt of shit that I know how to do. I know how to negotiate, right? I know how to research if it's a good price. I know how to check if it's quality stuff by seeing the electronics and all, right? So then I used my quantifiable shit and reverse engineered what I had to do to acquire this lighting that made me feel a certain way. So I married the two. I didn't just say, this is the lighting. I fucking know it. How are you going to get it, Bart? I don't know. I'll see. I'll find out. Like, once I've decided this is it, like I've materialized my thoughts, you reverse engineer that shit.
So do you think it's in the sense, if you are on the further side of the spectrum where you go, I don't know, let's just fucking see what happens. Is that where the greatest adventure can happen? Or is it where the two are married because you're going, I don't know, you tell me.
Yeah, dude, I think constantly trying to find out the answer to that question really is how you gain experience, because I am one that is the adventure guy.
Yeah.
Like that's me to a T. But that adventure guy also doesn't really get a lot done. Because you like adventure so much, you don't chart where you've been. You don't chart how to get the fuck out of where you've gone. You don't chart anything because you're just so infatuated with the adventure.
You're an adventurer without a map.
You are lost forever. Right?
Very cool.
Which for some is all that matters.
Yeah.
If you're not trying to establish something. For example, I had Zach Smythe in here Zach Smythe is an absolute, just incredible artist.
Okay.
He's a St. Louis artist. And what are you looking at? It's blinking.
Sorry.
And I asked him to come do a mural on that big white wall.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully we can still work it out but at the time I couldn't afford it. And he even took like 75% off of his fee. And his fee is not outrageous. Like he's worth every penny. I just literally didn't have it. But anyway, he is someone who I would say is like a forever wanderer because he just wants to be an unshackled artist constantly. He's not building an art studio, to hire employees, to manufacture art, to reproduce things. The moment you're trying to reproduce your adventure, you have now, you have to take the adventure out of it.
Yep.
Right? So if I walk into a cliff that no one's ever been before, I have to be able to walk back out that same way if I'm going to take someone else there. And then I create a path. And then I tell you, don't touch that tree, because last time I did, I cut myself. And then don't walk past this because you'll fall off the fucking cliff and die. Because if I don't do those things, and that does happen, no one's going to follow me to that fucking cliff. I have to negate the potential for disaster.
And as a consequence, the people that are now following you don't have as much of an adventure.
But they're okay with that because the adventure that they do get comes with safety. And they're willing to negate some adventure if they know they're going to be okay. I, like, personally, if I'm going to go to Italy, I'm just going to go a random VRBO in a random fucking town, and I'm just going to show the fuck up. And after I show the fuck up, I'm going to find out, where do I get food? Where do I bathe? Like, you know, that's fun for me. There are people who would have a panic attack if you just dropped them in the middle of a country that they can't speak the language. I love that.
You know what? I think you'll like this. I was always I was never cool with that until I've started this business. Now I think about that, I'm like, fuck, I can do that. Because I've already proven to myself that I can start something and I can figure things out.
You can figure things out. That not knowing the answer is okay. And even if something, I don't know if I should say this because it's not necessarily maybe all the time right, but like the potential for very bad things happening is there. But in my own personal experience, even the things that I thought were very bad things that happen are still manageable, and there's still something I can overcome. You know, short of me being literally abducted, and even then I could probably handle a little bit. I mean, it's probably not as bad as I think abduction is. It's a stupid comment, I know. But my point is like when you face like your greatest fears in the face and you see that they're not that fucking scary, you're like, well, fuck, man, I want that adventure now. Like, I've always said no to the adventure because I was so scared of what potentially might happen. But like, I think I could deal with it, dude. I think I can manage. And so then you're like, well, then that unlocks a whole new potential for joy and a whole new potential for wonder and you know, like, that's what I want. I want to just drive around America in a fucking RV for a while and just fucking figure it out. Like, there's so many things in life that I have yet to experience because of that. But in order for me to accomplish that potential to go out and adventure, I have to create enough of a substance, like here with building many gyms and creating many companies and creating enough self-sustaining items that it will back my yearning for adventure. But even then, psychologically and philosophically, I kind of run into my own walls, though, because there's a member here, one of the coolest dudes I've ever met in my life. 2 years ago, God told him, it's time to fucking just quit your job and just leave. And he left New York in a fucking camper, and he just drives wherever he feels like driving, and he stays there for as long as he feels like staying there. And he's a member here because he went into supplement superstores and they said nice things about the gym, and he felt compelled to come here. He walked in within 5 minutes. I had an 1.5 hour long conversation with him because philosophically we're so in line. That dude doesn't have millions of fucking dollars. But I want to know what it feels like to have millions of fucking dollars too.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And I know logistically, it'll be a lot easier for me to travel and do all the things I really want to do if I have enough of a bank account to be able to pull myself through it if I need to. Listen, if I want to squat 500 pounds, I have to work my way up to 500 pounds, no matter what. No matter what. Is it technically possible for someone to be able to squat 500 without any prior training? Yes, but the potential of bad things happening is very high, and the potential of them being able to accomplish that is very low. So, you know, if at 18 I had done what he did, and I didn't have any responsibilities, I didn't have a wife, I didn't have a kid, I didn't have any other thing to worry about other than myself, yeah, I probably would have followed those same footsteps. But I was too scared back then. I wasn't able to be self-sustaining back then. I didn't have the tools required as a person to be able to accomplish something like that because I was too afraid of everything. Every potential disaster. Being able to call somewhere not knowing what they're going to ask me was enough for me not to call. Because I had so much anxiety that they were going to ask me something that I should know that I don't know, so that I didn't even want to make the phone call.
Yeah, I relate.
Right?
Yep.
Well, what are they going to ask? I don't know. Just fucking call. They're a human being. Just ask them. It's okay not to know.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Well, I don't want them. You don't know who they are.
Yep.
It's some random human being in a state that you're not in.
Could be some sweet old grandma.
Dude,
totally
just the shit we're afraid of is so ridiculous.
Yep.
You know. Well, gross. I have a friend who's, husband won't go grocery shopping because, like, what if he gets the wrong one? Like, can you imagine being that imprisoned in your own mind?
I can. I can.
I know, right?
Because I've been there.
I know.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. And it's awful. And you make justifications that it's okay. And you have enough fun online that it's okay not to explore. And you have enough fun with the text messaging that it's okay not to get shut down by the girl. Like, it's okay. All those things that probably aren't that cool. That sunset over the cliff probably isn't that sweet looking. Look, I have a picture of it right here. And that's what people do. They justify not living life because they're afraid of the potentials. So, like I said, do I need 100 gyms in order to go and backpack across Europe? No, my best friend did it at 18 with his girlfriend. No, I don't need millions of dollars. But I also want millions of dollars. I want to know what it feels like. I really want to know what it feels like to walk into a dealership of my choice and buy anything that I want. I want to know what it feels like to have a house literally specced out exactly to my fucking liking. I want to have multiple places I can go and live whenever I feel like it. Like, I want to know what that feels like. How long will I have all that for? I don't know. Maybe a little bit. I'll experience it and then someone else can have it. I just need to experience it. I want to know what it feels like. But the adventure is really something that I want. So, being able to not be closed-minded to things just because you're one of those two people, right? You're either the one that has to have everything ironed out to a T, itinerary, what time, where, who you're going to talk to, all those things, reverse engineered, or the other person who doesn't even know where both of his shoes are at the same time, like just wants to fucking go and just figure it out. Like, both of those you need to marry those two people, and then I think that way you'll be able to experience life to its fullest.
How many people do you know that have accomplished that, the marrying of the two?
Oh. Actually, many. Excuse me. I have been fortunate enough to get myself into a position to have circles full of entrepreneurs who have their own businesses. And they all have some capacity of both.
Yeah.
You can very easily see which way they lean. And what's even funnier is most of them have partners who lean the exact opposite way. So just as we talked last episode about, female and male energy or masculine, feminine energy, I also have seen now companies who are built in that exact same way where it's conceptual and analytical married into a relationship that started a business. And they're the most successful ones. So the fact that I'm doing this by myself, I'm fucked, huh? Yeah. No, because my right hand, Natalie, she's the analytical one. She's a sweetheart. I've begged her to just be the front desk person because everyone that walks in absolutely loves her. She's so incredible with people, and she loves people too, but she's in love with analytics. She likes structure, and and that's why she makes my life so much easier because I don't even have to ask her to build something out for me. She can just see what I'm trying to do and the disorganization that I have trying to do it. And she goes, and she's not even asking. She puts it together for me in this neat little package. And I'm way more powerful and way more able to do shit because she does that for me.
Project power.
That's exactly right, dude. 100%. So, for anyone out there that thinks there's just one way, there isn't. And that's the whole point of life, is to start like piecing all those things together and being able to be okay with not knowing, and being able to be okay with organizing yourself once you do know. You know, I for a long time thought that there was like a destruction of the art if I organize it, or I write it down, or I, make a procedure. Well, then it's not organic if I tell you step by step what you're supposed to do, then you don't get the full experience. That's the point. Like, when you write down an exact step by step and make a path for someone, the point is to take the ambiguity out of it, which is the part I love so much. But you can't, as a leader, that's why you're the leader, because you're the one creating the path for them. They don't want to create the path. That's why they're following you. So as the leader, you have to be okay with taking some of the shit that you love out of the equation and transforming it into the shit they love, which is telling them what to do to be fucking successful. They don't want to paint their own picture. They want to be given the fucking paint by number and then come out with a beautiful fucking picture.
What about the leaders within your who are currently following you but that are leaders?
Yeah. So they're the ones that you've distinguished have the capacity to be conceptual. So then you have to lead them to what to be conceptual about. So for example, I have an inner circle group, right? So I have my management team and I involved in we have a meeting today at 11. So it's just the heads. And then there's company meetings that have everybody else, right? Including them. Our meetings are drastically different. The meetings with the inner circle are vision and direction based, where I give them the topics that we're trying to accomplish in each of their categories. And I've entrusted them to handle their category in a way that gets us to that direction, but I don't micromanage them to the point where they're not able to create on their own. If they have questions on what to create, or if it makes sense, they come to me, they get a final answer of yes or no. And before they execute anything, they run it by me to see what I think, to see if it's the right thing to do. But I leave it up to them to pave their own way in that regard. That creates the ownership, that creates the responsibility, that creates the potential, self-esteem that they need to be successful, because they're the ones that created the answer and executed it, and it gave us a positive result. So they take full ownership of that whole capacity, which is very important. But to do that with just like entry-level employees you can't do that, right? Even though you're like, I'm going to give them a gift by giving them the open-endedness of just make sure the gym's clean. That's it. And then just leave it at that. And they're not going to, their involvement, their ownership, their responsibility to the baby is not as high. So their attention to detail, their execution, they're going above and beyond this. Like it's not going to be on the capacity it needs to be. If it is, they've moved themselves into the inner circle.
Okay, so we've talked about this a little bit before. What are you saying to for this example? What are you saying to your staff other than the place needs to be clean? How are you getting them on board with the baby?
Okay, so first is first. You give them the procedures. This is like, if you're an opener, these 10 steps are exactly what you have to do every time you come in. You have to go scrub the toilets. You have to clean the bathrooms. You have to, right? Here are your 10 action items you have to do. Then you explain why those action items are so important. Since 7 p.m. yesterday, there have been no employees in here. So since 7 p.m. last night to 9 a.m. this morning, God knows what happened in those bathrooms. Okay? So they need to be cleaned first so that we catch up from the hours that haven't had staff. Then you go into cleaning of, the front desk and the floor. You explain exactly what to do. And then you explain why those things are important. When they hear why those things are important in their data bank, if they're trying to move up in a company, what they should do is they go, these 10 action items are something I will do no matter what. Because I understand the point of why I'm doing these 10 things, I will also see if there's an 11th, a 12th, a 13th, a 14th, and a 15th I can add to these 10 on my own to better accomplish the point of why I'm doing these 10. And if you do that on your own, you are showcasing to ownership and the management team that you care about the baby enough to make sure that you're dotting I's and crossing T's that we haven't even told you about. You're able to decipher on your own pitfalls and shortcomings and things that aren't getting done to the fullest capacity, and then taking it upon yourself to make sure that they get done so the baby gets fed as good as it can get fed. That then shows the ownership that this is a person I need to put into a position that allows them the creativity to get the baby fed because they've shown the capacity, the ambition, the potential to do it on their own. But if you do my 10 action items really fucking well, but that's all you do all the time, you're not going to get any higher of a position.
But you're not going to get fired.
Absolutely not.
But you're not going to
you might get a raise. You're definitely going to get showcased to the team that, hey, listen, comes in before shift, does all 10 action items, doesn't leave until they're all done, executes consistently. This is the type of employee we need at this level. And you guys are doing a phenomenal job at this. The other conversation with the first example, this person comes in early, does all 10 action items, and then I caught them doing this and this and this and this on top. We're going to move them into the management role of the front desk because they understand what we're trying to do to get this baby fed, and I want them in a position that allows them the freedom to do that and to get everybody else to do it too. Because now my front desk task list is now 15 items, not 10. Because of that employee that found the extra 5. And obviously they're going to get reciprocated financially for that, right? That's how you showcase appreciation for the feeding of the baby, is I make sure you're taken care of financially, emotionally. You matter more to this fucking organization. You matter more to this baby. So I'm going to make sure that whoever's feeding the baby is okay, is taken care of. I don't want them to not be able to feed the baby anymore. So, if you're doing your 10 action items really fucking well all the time, but that's it, and you don't take ownership of the baby being fed. Once you say your 10th action item is done, and let's say that baby's still hungry and you just walk away, don't be surprised that you don't move up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay. That's something I've had to stress too, is as much as I would want everybody to be an inner circle type person, we've talked about this on a couple of episodes before, not everybody wants that for themselves.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Listen.
To not strive for the best possible version. It seems like you have a
moral. So why are you assuming that their best possible version is a creative?
Well, it doesn't have to be necessarily creative, but I guess how you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you are going for those extra 5 action items,
but what if your capacity is just those 10?
Well, then you're striving towards the best possible version of yourself. But is their capacity just 10?
Maybe. I mean, dude, there is a difference in intellect.
Yep.
Or is there not? Right? There is a difference in computing power of people's brains. There just is. And I relate to you because when I was managing at S2, I would never admit that not every employee could be a manager. And my other managers, my other friends in the company and upper management were like, Bart, there are some guys who just aren't going to be managers. And the reason why I wouldn't relinquish that position is because I would then feel like I would quit on people too early if I believed that some people just aren't able to. So I wanted to be a manager that wouldn't quit on anybody, which means I would pour myself into people, every single employee, every single time, all the way through. I would spend extra hours with every fucking employee, whether they were showcasing the want to or not. I would constantly try to get them to another level. But what my maturity has taught me is if you're not trying to get to another level, I'm not going to fucking pull you into it.
Yep.
That is no different than some toxic ass relationships out there where, either the girl or the guy looks at the other and says, if he just got his shit together, he'd be the most amazing guy ever. But if you are the one trying to get his shit together you're fucking up. You are wasting your goddamn time. Until someone wants to get their own shit together, it is not on you. Yep. And that's the hardest thing ever, dude. Just like we talked about with the Julia episode. If you see a guy in the gym and you really want him to say something to you, and you really want him to ask you out, but he doesn't, you just have to say, okay. You do. Because whatever you're going to have to do, to the 1% chance that they might get their shit together, you're going to have to do that for the rest of your fucking relationship. So if I do go to, let's say, the lowest level employee, the lowest performing employee I have, and I say, I'm going to make this guy manager. And I sit extra hours, and I call him, and I wake him up in the mornings, and I make... What the fuck do you think I'm going to have to do once he becomes manager? If you don't have self-sufficiency and self-start, there isn't another fucking human that's going to come save you, bro. And I look for that. If I have to be the one to motivate you to go do shit, like, I don't fucking want you on the goddamn team. Now, if you're a motivated individual and then my vision and my want and my work and my this and my that gets you to go further, fuck yeah, let's fucking go. Let's work off each other's energy. But the minimum buy-in for anything is you have to want it for yourself first. Period. So, if someone wants to do the 10 items and they want to do them really well and they don't want to do any more items, I say thank you. And we move on. We've talked about this before. What other filter do you have to create a good team of people around you if you don't give them the opportunity to show you they're not one of your people? Right? If you're mean to everybody and you don't give the opportunity to be kind to anyone, you don't know who's actually kind and who's not, because you're an asshole to everyone. So everyone's an asshole back, or they're indifferent. So you have no circle because you never give anyone the chance to strike up a conversation. And you go on and carry out your life and say everyone sucks. The fucking flip is also true. If you go out of your way to be overly kind and overly abundantly nice and fucking, like we talked about before, the nice guy who takes your assholeness and constantly just spins a pot, how does that guy know who belongs in his life if he has a positive interaction with fucking every human on the planet? You just get a whole bunch of people who use you and take advantage of you. Yep. So you have to be honest. You let people be who they are, and you're okay with who they are. Yeah. It's that one was a very, I wouldn't say tough pill for me to swallow, but it was a very big, daunting thing for me, because when I finally decided to let people be who they are, I felt like I was, I don't know, giving up on people. And that's not a feeling I really enjoy. But I have so many examples in my life where I have severely sacrificed myself and severely, wasted fucking time, dude. You don't have forever on this planet. And to waste it on people who are not even remotely, like, I don't know, dude. Like I said, at first I was like, I will miss people through the cracks of who really need help if I don't try to help everybody. But the people who need the help are the ones trying to help themselves.
Are the people who need their help, or the people who deserve the help, I guess?
That's the same.
Yeah.
If someone's not trying to help themselves, they don't need any help. It means they're fine with what they are. Yeah. And that's a mind fuck.
Yeah. To us, it seems like they might need help, but to them, they're like, I don't need any help.
I'm fine, dude. Yeah. There's homeless people who choose to be homeless.
Fuck yeah, there is.
Right?
Yep.
There's 9-to-5ers who hate their jobs, who choose to hate their jobs their whole life. Like, there's people in relationships that just choose to not be in a good relationship. And why those things happen, psychiatry and psychology can tell you much better than I can. But as a leader or as someone who's in contact with people, you really have to focus on those who are trying to help themselves. Because with your time on this planet, that will return the most on your investment of time. And it'll make the most difference, truly. I mean, I look back on my years as a manager at S2, and dude, I mean, I spent 2-3 years with guys. I'm like, I'm grooming him, 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 and not only did nothing come of it, they fucking like, you know, like it was a giant slap in my face, you know. And then there's people who were just hungry, you know, like that guy who came and bugged me at the gym twice, and like that guy was hungry. I fucking loved helping that guy because we helped each other. He tried to help me, I help him. Like that's mutual. You can't string people along. You can't pull people. You can't do it. And if you try to, you are literally fucking the rest of the people who are trying to help themselves. You know, one of the most frustrating things I had was the upper management didn't pay a ton of attention to me because they left me alone to create. And like I had autonomy because they had so much trust and loyalty from me, and they didn't have to worry about me at all. So I didn't get really paid much attention to. I didn't get meetings. I didn't get phone calls. Like I just got left alone, right? And they kept going to people's stores that sucked and they were awful and they didn't do well. And, you know, the guys spent a lot of time there. And I'm like, after a while, I'm like, dude, like, I know I could do better. I know I want to be in a different position. I know I don't want to stay in the stores forever. I feel like if you were to spend 2 months with me at my store, you would see how much better I would be at a higher position than I currently am. But because you're paying so much attention to the fucking lollygaggers who aren't doing anything, you've completely missed an opportunity with me because you just kept me in the same fucking position this whole goddamn time. And you don't see it. People don't see it from that point of view. They go, I have to go, you know, the squeaking wheel gets the oil, right? And I have to go fix these problems. I have to go fix these problems. I have to go fix these problems. When, if you just put the right leaders in place, like the problems will get solved on their own, right? That's a lesson that I learned, which is what I'm trying not to have happen here, because I can see how quickly, if someone's not doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's so easy to just pay a shit ton of attention to them because the other one's got it. Everyone else has got it, right? They got it. I know they know what they're doing. I know they know. And you assume that your appreciation for them and your thoughts of them are something that they can feel or know about. They don't know when I'm thinking about them unless I take an action step to show them. They don't know that my appreciation of them unless I take an action step to show them. So if I'm spending a shit ton of time with someone who, quote unquote, in their own eyes, doesn't deserve my time, and who they feel do deserve my time, doesn't get it, you feel like you're not being paid attention to, taken advantage of. So as a leader, you take those who are trying to run with you and you help them run faster. And you make the running group so enticing to be a part of that the other people try to fucking run. But getting walkers to start running is a fucking pain in the ass that only destroys the entire group. So don't do that.
Okay.
What did you get from today, sir?
Yeah, I've got two things. One, I kind of came to the realization that my desire for wealth, a lot of that is at a deeper level my need for control.
Okay.
And in that, and talking about like the adventures and such.
Why did you get to that realization?
Well, because when I was in high school or whatever, I had a shitty friend group. I had people that would just bail on me, whatever. And I was also 5 foot tall. I was small. Like I was just not in control of anything in my life. And so now everything I'm doing, trying to get strong and big, I'd say I'm already there pretty much.
I saw your post yesterday. You're almost there. 3 pounds away, bro. 3 pounds away. Let's go.
Yep. But now everything I'm doing is trying to get that control back. And so being rich is one of those things. But in doing that, I'm taking away some of my potential for adventure.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, for instance, going to Italy or something, it's like, if I have this amount of money, once I know I can go to Italy and not have to fucking worry about it, then I'll go to Italy. Sure. And it's holding me back from taking some certain steps in my life.
No doubt. But the point of that little part was to differentiate the two.
For sure.
I'm being rich because I want to feel what being rich is like, not because I want to go to Italy. Just like my guy who wanted a Mustang, he says, I'm going to work really hard so I can earn a Mustang. Like, you can earn a Mustang now. So work really hard to earn a lot of money because you want to know what it's like to have a lot of money, not because you want to have a Mustang, because I can give you a Mustang now. So I'm going to make a lot of money just because I want to feel what it's like to make a lot of money. Because if I'm making a lot of money to go to Italy, I can get to Italy for not a lot of money.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Right.
So go on.
Okay. And the other thing that I kind of picked up on today was we're thinking about more and applying is I like the analogy of the runners and the walkers, because I've always been in the place where it's how can I get the walkers to start running? But I think what you said is perfect. If you make it the running group enticing enough to be a part of, then the the walkers will become runners, or the ones that that you want to become. I don't know.
That's how I treat the gym, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I trust my focus are these people who have signed up. I want them to have such an over the top fucking experience. I want them to be taken care of. I want them to be, they're the ones who fucking believe in me. They're the ones who believe in this place. They're the ones who are willing to give money to fucking be here. They're the ones who are willing to run. So I'm going to take care of the runners as much as I possibly can to get the walkers out there to want to start running. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to go to every fucking walker's door and try to convince them to start running. That's not that. You know what I mean? That's a fucking game I don't want to play forever. Mm-hmm. It sucks. So instead, I'll just take this group that's here now, kicking ass. I'm going to showcase the shit out of them. I'm going to make them feel as good as they deserve to feel because they're fucking running. And that's unique. Like we started this whole fucking podcast episode off. They're doing shit that they know that other people aren't doing. Mm-hmm. And that's taking care of themselves and pushing themselves on January 1st and 2nd and December 31st and fucking it doesn't matter.
Yep.
Right? They're working hard. They're not sitting on their fucking phones for no fucking reason. So, yeah, my 10 o'clock is here. Appreciate you, buddy. It's a good one.
Cool.
It's a good one. If anyone's trying to do anything, listen to this fucking episode.
That was banger episode. Banger. It was.
Yeah. That's all we do.
We do bangers.
Bang, bang, bang the drum, motherfuckers.